Ever look at a product and just think, wow, they nailed it? What's the secret sauce that separates the good stuff from the truly great stuff? Well, it's almost never a single flash of genius. It's a process. And today, we're going to break down the engine that drives incredible design, the iterative testing loop.
So, let me start by asking you a question. When you think about testing something, do you see it as the final step, or is it just the beginning? I think most of us are taught to see a test as, the final exam, the last hurdle. But what if that's all wrong? What if testing isn't the finish line at all, but actually the starting block? Because here's the thing, creating something great is almost never a simple, straight line from point A to point B. We have this kind of perfection myth in our heads, right? That you just build something and poof, it's perfect on the first try. The truth, the creative process is messy. It's a cycle. That straight line is the exception, not the rule. Okay, so to really get how awesome products get made, we need to look beyond that imaginary finish line. We have to completely rethink the role that testing plays in the whole process. And this one shift in thinking, it changes everything. Testing isn't some pass or fail exam. A better way to think about it is that it's the start of a conversation with your users. It's your chance to listen, to gather feedback, and to learn what really, truly works for them. So, if the process isn't a straight line, what is it then? Well, it's a cycle, a really powerful repeating loop that's designed to drive constant improvement. And this cycle actually has a name. It's called iterative testing. Now, the formal definition is an iterative cycle that repeats as many times as needed to refine and improve a solution based on user feedback. But forget the textbook language. The two words you really need to remember here are repeats and refine. That's the whole game. So the most crucial takeaway is this. It's a cycle, not a finish line. Every test isn't an ending, it's a launch pad for the next improvement. Getting that mindset right is the foundation for this entire process.
Okay, so that's the big idea. But how does this loop actually work in the real world? Let's get into the mechanics of it. We're going to break down the 5 essential steps of this incredibly powerful cycle. So how does this whole loop work? It really just boils down to 5 clear, actionable steps. And here it is. This is basically the roadmap for our loop. You identify, then you ideate, you prototype, you test again, and you observe. This is the engine of refinement. So let's take a quick look at how each part works. All right, let's walk through it. Step 1, identify improvements. This is where you put on your detective hat. You dive deep into all that user feedback and you hunt for patterns, for those little moments of friction. Next up, ideate solutions. Now, you're not just patching holes here, you're brainstorming really creative ways to make the whole experience better based on what you just learned. Then, you make those ideas real. You sketch and prototype an updated version. And now for the most important part. You test again. You put that new version right back in front of your users, and as they're using it, you hit the final step. Observe and record. You watch everything. You take detailed notes on what they do, what they say, and even where they hesitate. So, you've done all 5 steps. You've got your notes, you've learned a ton. The big question is, what now? What do you do next? And listen, this is the most critical part of the entire process. You don't throw it all out and start over from scratch. That's not what this is about. Because feedback isn't failure, it's fuel. You simply loop right back to step 1. But this time you're armed with all these new insights and you just begin the cycle again. This part of the process, this is where the magic really happens. It's not just about doing it over and over again. It's about what each loop accomplishes. It's a powerful system of constant refinement. You rinse, you refine, and you repeat. There's a quote that just nails this perfectly. Each cycle brings the solution closer to what users truly need and want. Just think about that for a second. Every single time you go through this loop, you're not just making random changes. You are methodically, deliberately closing the gap between what you've built and what your users are dreaming of. So, don't think of this as a flat circle, like you're just running in place on a hamster wheel. A much, much better way to picture it is as a spiral. With every single loop, you're spiraling upwards, getting progressively closer and closer to a truly fantastic, user-centered solution. It's not just motion, it's motion with purpose. So I'll leave you with a question to think about in your own work. Whether you're building an app, designing a website, or heck, even just writing an important email. Ask yourself this: what could I improve by taking just one more loop? What could I learn from one more round of feedback? That question, and the willingness to answer it, that is the mindset that built great things.